All right, are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
If the audio is dog shit, then whatever. There we go. It's been a long time, Gumpo.
It's been a very long time. The shit of life has gotten in the way.
Of what's really important. Drinking beer and talking into cameras, man.
No shit. It's been a while since we've done this shit. I mean, what? It's been, 5 months?
I don't know if it's been that long. Fucking peacocks. I don't know if it's been that long. I think the last time we did anything was it the expedition?
Well, that's when we did a video on the expedition in here. Last time we sat down and did a podcast, was before my deer hunt.
Mm-hmm. Look what's up on the screen right now.
Yep.
The gayest shit ever.
Old Maddie and Brennan.
I gotta set a timer for 18 minutes. There we go.
For how long?
For that camera.
Oh.
It doesn't record forever. Like this one does. I need I need one of those cameras that can record like indefinitely, or at least like there's cameras out there that like will stop recording after 19 continuous hours, but that might as well just be like forever. So because these ones only record for I think 29 minutes, and then you just hit the record button, hit it again, it starts recording again. But
Well, that makes it easy.
yeah.
Sure, there's a fix for it, probably.
Yeah, get a new camera.
Well,
Those are set in like that.
are they?
There's no like updates or anything like that you can do.
Yeah. Well,
I wish there were, but
the old expedition, I'm just waiting on the site now.
the driver,
Yeah.
Zach's waiting on his too.
Well, I'm waiting 2 months.
They said it was going to be 2 months away.
Well, when I ordered it, I'm 2 months out.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
I didn't figure it was horrible, but I'd really like to get it before the Bow Disciples Challenge.
Yeah,
I mean, as easy as that thing tuned, I don't think I'd have an issue shooting that thing in at all.
nope.
I didn't even have to tune it. Literally shot bare shaft and shot fletch shaft right through paper. Mm-hmm. Both bullet holes.
There you go.
I think that's the first time I've ever shot a bow through paper that I didn't have to do shit to.
Well, that's why you and I have discussed why I will never buy a speedbow ever again.
Exactly. Whereas Mark's Mach 34, I spent 2.5 fucking hours chasing knock points.
Yeah, the tricky thing about that is that you're shooting it through your hands
Yeah.
and not his, so it might completely change once you put it in his hands.
Well, I don't think it'll change that much.
Yeah. It might though. You never know because like fuckers.
I'm gonna start shooting them. I say that every time.
I know. Is it illegal to shoot peafowl in Arizona?
No, but
Frowned upon?
technically they're livestock of somebody.
Okay. Well, their livestock is shitting all over your house.
And they're gonna end up dying.
From what?
An arrow.
Oh, okay. It's just frowned upon, like masturbating on an airplane.
Exactly.
Okay. I don't know. With how many are like around here, I don't think they'd notice if like 3 or 4 went missing.
Probably not. I've got that one young male. I think that was the one Austin caught last summer.
Yeah.
that's just been living here. Apparently, he wants to reunite with Austin. Mm-hmm. He wants to go round 2.
Not today.
Not today.
Not today. He needs to get his ass in gear, though.
Yep.
He's got an elk hunt.
Well, I've been working my ass out and getting some cardio in. Mm-hmm. Just so I can get back in shape for that hunt.
Yeah.
Because I felt like shit on my Kofa hunt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was any fault of my own. I had a lung infection.
Yeah.
And didn't know it.
Yeah. I bought a bike. And it's actually got a flat right now. Like a month after I bought it. But I got to get that green goo to go in there. But I got to take it back to Mr. B's and get him to squirt some of that green goo in there and then reinflate it. But the biking is... I do like 6.5 miles like every other day. And it's just enough to where it's like... The problem with like working out when you're a fucking adult is like... When I was in college and stuff like that, I'd go... I remember I was at Ohio State and I'd go to the RPAC and I'd work out for like 3 hours. Like 5 days a week. Because I had the time. Now, it's just like, if I'm not up by 4:30, like doing a kettlebell work by 5 a.m. and finishing by 6:30, like, I don't have time to do a workout because I've got to do shit in the morning, like answer personal emails, do all that. Then I got to go to work. And you've got to take a shower. That's like 20 minutes to half an hour, whatever. I mean, and then of course if you wake up, if I wake up at like 5:30 instead of 4:30,
You're fucked.
yeah. Dude, I just don't have time for those like 2-hour workouts anymore. I got to get it done like that. And I like the bike because it gets my heart rate up to between 140 and 170 for like 25 minutes on a 6.5 mile bike ride. And like it gets my, you know, I'm like done by the end of the workout. And then like I think it simulates really well. It's probably not like super similar, a 1-to-1 ratio, but like if I'm hiking up a mountain or something like that, and you know when you get gassed and your legs start burning and stuff like that, it's the same feeling.
Yeah.
So that I think that's wonderful cross training for hiking up and down mountains. I won't tell you that I'm in the best shape ever, but I'm in way better shape than I was probably 6 months ago.
Well, I feel a hell of a lot better than I did 6 months ago. My neck finally popped in the right direction where if you notice, I can actually look at you from this direction.
Yeah.
That pinched nerve is gone. That was a big hindrance on my shit the last year. Mm-hmm. We'll see how it goes this year. I don't got any hunts yet.
Well, we still have rifle.
We got rifle, sheep. Hopefully we draw sheep. I should draw a sheep tag.
When's the draw for that?
June.
It's the same as deer, isn't it? Yeah. I remember that from last year. Of course, I've only been putting in for 2 years. Christ almighty.
That's the thing, is it's a pain in the ass. I have to remind everybody how to do that shit. Because it just, like you, Ty, a couple other people, I always like, all right, don't forget to put in for deer. Don't forget to put in for deer.
I was on it last year.
Yeah.
And I'll be on it this year. Does it open up end of, beginning of May?
It opens up, I think whenever the regs come out.
I can never remember. But I'm excited for deer rifle. I want a tag this year because I'm so much more prepared than last year. I took that 308 out, and I was like, 300 yards, I'm good. Anywhere further than that, I don't have confidence in it.
Yeah.
I took the 7mm Remington Magnum out the other day with factory ammo. Those aren't even my hand loads. And I dialed the scope in, and I had the ballistic calculator and stuff like that with all my speed and info from the Garmin. And there was a plate out at 699 yards, and I was just like, what's it say for 699? Bang.
The chances of getting a 700-yard shot out in the Kofas, though, is...
But if you're confident at 700 yards, a 300-yard shot is a no-brainer.
It's a chip shot.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we practice at 100 yards with a bow.
Mm-hmm.
You get to be able to, at the 30, 40-yard shots, feel like nothing.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what that bow does at distance. See if it holds on to the speed and doesn't drop like a rock like some bows I've shot.
So what area did you select for it?
Easton 5.0,
Okay.
340 spine, 50 grain, half out, the Podium Archer,
The
Titanium.
titaniums, yeah.
And I'm going to run Grim Reaper broadheads on it. I think that should be a killer combination, hopefully.
Yeah. I've never killed anything with Grim Reaper, but that's what I run. Of course, I haven't been back to Ohio in a long time. I definitely, there was a while there where I got a deer, I got a doe every year, and that was nice.
Bow hunting out here in the desert's just a whole different ball game.
I think I'm going to go back to Ohio in the fall.
Are you?
Yeah. Spend like, I don't know, 2 weeks out there. Maybe in late September, early October, when they're starting to rut and you start to see deer all over the place.
I'll put in for Iowa again just for shits and giggles.
We need to do that. Fuck. When does it? You need to tell me when it.
I got to remember when it is. I may have missed it.
Because if he's got stands out there, if your guy out there has stands, I have a saddle, which is mobile. It's literally a lineman's belt made for hunting, so like lineman's holes and stuff like that. Like 100% mobile, so we could like get up in the tree stand. You could sit in the seat, and I'll be literally like maybe 3 feet above you, and it's like I'm just hanging off the tree, and it doesn't hinder you at all, because I can get probably 310 degrees around that tree with a saddle.
It'll be an experience for me. I've never eastern whitetail hunted.
It's very boring, man.
Soaking glassing out in the desert.
Yeah, but it's almost like you're like with glassing. I actually enjoy glassing. I really do. I know that Austin fucking hates it, and a couple other people that we hunt with hate it. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't know, like, it fulfills the adventure in me to, like, get up on because you can literally go out there and make it as easy as possible and just, like, get on top of a hill or something like that and, you know, do some glassing. Or you could go, like, hey, you see that peak over there? I'm going to fucking get on top of it. And then it's just, like that's some of the funnest shit I've ever done. And I in the Kofas 2 years ago, I just got up on top of the peak right outside of camp and glassed down. Saw some bighorn sheep. That was fucking awesome. But like, there was this cutout on the side of the peak where it was literally like sitting in a lawn chair, where you've got like it just kind of like wrapped around it. It was a perfect flat spot for me to sit, and there was a platform right like that where I put my tripod, and I could literally glass 180 degrees, and it was so comfortable. I was like, I had to like pinch myself because I was up there, glassing for like a really long time, and then I kind of like looked up and I was like, this is fucking awesome, man. But when you're in a tree, you can't fucking move.
No.
And there's decision like when you're on top of like a mountain, the decision to move to like the next like because where that peak is, it kind of follows like it's kind of got like a plateau on it where you can follow it around. It's kind of crescent moon shape. That you're 700 feet up. So like the decision to move is not that big of a deal. You could go back and forth all day around there and, do stuff.
Nothing will notice.
The decision to move in a tree stand is something that every single eastern whitetail hunter is like, they've had an existential crisis about. Where it's like, fuck, like, do I move? Like, is this right? If I'm going to move, is this the right time? Like, am I like, is the wind gonna shift after I move? Is the wind gonna be different over in that spot? Like, it's just like, it's like, am I gonna move and then drop my scent everywhere? Am I gonna move and like a deer's gonna walk past the stand that I was in, and I'm in a new stand and nothing's gonna come by? It's like, everything is so uncertain because there's no like. I describe like Western hunting as like actual hunting. You are searching for something, and you have to look for something to search for. Like look through binoculars, like walk around, like do stuff. In Eastern whitetail hunting, I describe it as like all theoretical. Because you're hunting around, like if you're private land hunting, you can like put out feed and stuff like that, and wait for it, and it's not really that big of a deal. When you're public land hunting in like Hocking County, Ohio, you're looking at acorn trees. Acorn trees produce wonderful food for deer, especially for bucks that don't like to be out in the open. And they like to, stay in thick stuff. They might pop out, eat some acorns and stuff like that, browse a little bit, and then go right back into your thickets and stuff like that. But acorns get to a point where, trees get to a point where they've dropped all their acorns. That food source is no longer available. So you have to figure out when those trees are dropping their food, and then get in there and really do that. But you don't know if a deer is doing that in the day or the night, or even if they're doing it at all. Like those acorns just could be dropping on the ground. So for me, it's all theoretical. Like you can see deer trails everywhere, but you don't know if that's an old trail, a new trail, or anything like that, unless you actually get down there and see like fresh poop and stuff like that. But then again, it's just everything is theoretical until you see that actual animal using that trail or that food source and stuff like that. Of course, there's people that have cameras all over the place and shit like that, and they can literally time it to where it's just like it's just like at last light, this massive buck pops out of this spot, like clockwork, and then you can people literally do that where they like time it, where it's just like, I don't even need to be, I get to my stand 15 minutes before it happens, get settled, deer pops out, bang.
Boom, bang, done.
But, it's a wildly different kind of hunting. And I'd be interested to know if you, as a Western hunter, woohoo! Fuck yeah, dude. I'd be interested to know if you, as a Western hunter,
could deal with that shit.
No, I think you'd be able to do it. I really do. I'll tell you what. The thing about eastern whitetail that became a problem with me, if you start to get cold, your body starts to like lock up. Like for me, it's my hips. Hips get real tight, and then you're sitting there. You can't get up and stretch or do anything. Like you're literally confined to a tree, and you can find the most comfortable, tree ever, and you're still like I'm still
You're stuck.
It's almost like you're up in a tree and you're stuck in a phone box,
Yeah.
a phone booth or something like that, and you're just hunkered in, and it's the cold exacerbates all of that. So you'll start to get stiff and stuff like that, and then like when the time comes, like pulling that bow, I'll tell you what, it might be the hardest thing you've ever done. You talk about snap, crackle, pop, stuff like that. But the other thing that I would be interested to notice from you, because I haven't had this experience yet, because I haven't killed any deer out here. The adrenaline dump I've heard is different. So, and what I mean by this is that when you are eastern whitetail hunting, you go from 0 to 100 in literally a millisecond, because you're sitting there, you're bored, you're cold. You're looking around, and then all of a sudden a deer will pop up out of fucking nowhere 30 yards away. And it's like, oh my God, I've been waiting weeks for this. And so you get this surge of just adrenaline. And then you, after you execute the shot, like you have to put your bow back on the stand because you'll shake. I've shot a deer before, and literally uncontrollably, like I'm having a seizure. And I have it on video where you can hear it in my voice. It's just like, oh my God. And it's so crazy. But I don't know if that's different from Western hunting, because you see a deer and you're like, holy shit, there's a deer. And then you have to do the work to get up to it and stuff like that. And I don't know if that's different. I just talked for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, straight. But, well, I could see where you're coming from on that one. But when you're stalking up on a deer, your adrenaline's going that whole time. You spot that deer, you make a plan. There are times when you look at a deer and you're like, shit, I got to get to him now, because he's going to move and he's going to go somewhere. It's not like you can sit there and go, all right, I'm going to make a play on him and make a play in a day. There are times you look at it and he looks like he's moving. You're like, well, I got to go over that ridge, and I'm going to hopefully cut him off over here. So, I mean, you're huffing and puffing and thinking about it all while you're doing all that shit. So, I don't know.
Could be.
The last time I shot a deer like that, I shot a Coues deer that I stocked up on, and it was, I got in there, got around, had to go over 2 different ridges to play the wind and get into where he was. By the time I got there, I was so gassed and so tired. Pulling my bow back was next to impossible.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and we had another thing to deal with, heat. It was 90 degrees that day. And you're at 7,000 foot elevation. That will kick your ass quicker than anything.
I think that's different than what I'm describing.
It is.
So you're talking about being like physically exhausted and like, doing like a sprint workout or something like that. I'm talking about an uncontrollable like hormone event, and I'll tell you what makes me think that this is different. That it might be a little bit different. So there was a deer that I got that, like miraculously, I saw coming from about 100 yards away, and it was a bachelor group of whitetails and stuff like that, and I saw them, and I had that adrenaline dump and stuff like that, but it took them. I was thinking that they were gonna like walk right in. They stopped, browsed, stopped, browsed, stopped, browsed. It took them every bit of 45 minutes for them to go 100 yards. They had no idea I was there up in a tree. And by half an hour, I'm sort of like, I'm back to my normal state, like I'm bored. I'm just kind of like, it's almost like you're trying not to move, and then you're like, every step or every action you take is like, oh my god, and then by 30 minutes you're just like, all right, what the fuck, when are these deer gonna get over here? And all that worry is gone. And then they came right underneath my tree, and it was almost like okay, pulled back, shot the deer, and I didn't get that shaken feeling, and I was like, it was almost like it had been like the initial adrenaline dump happened, and then my body was kind of like, you got this. So that's why I'm thinking that Western hunting might be like that. I don't know.
It's very similar to that, but there are times where you're sitting there and you're looking at deer and you're like, oh shit, are they actually going to come my way, or something else like that? Because you can be sitting there bow hunting, and you're like, well, if they go take this draw, I'm fucked. If they take this draw, I get a shot. So you just sit there and you wait. You try to get yourself in position to get a shot. The chances of actually walking up on a deer and getting a shot with a bow, next to impossible. You know that. You've hunted out here the one time and know that you're not going to just walk up on a deer and see it and go, ooh, cool.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I really have no idea. It'll be interesting. If I don't draw Iowa, I may take Adam up on his proposal to go to Pennsylvania.
Oh, do that.
I mean, they're not big deer over there, but
There's some big deer in Pennsylvania.
where he's at, there's nothing big.
Yeah.
Just to do it. Even if I go kill a couple of does and fill the freezer up with some good
Those are
meat,
tasty, man. Those are tasty.
Deer are tasty. That's
They
what I
are.
had for dinner last night. And what I'm having for dinner tonight. Because I don't know how to make a little bit of spaghetti sauce.
I'll tell you what. Tree stand hunting is the easiest to film. Because you don't need a long lens. I can get away with my 28 to 75
Yeah.
Tamarin. And I have a swing arm that attaches to the tree. That's, stabilizes it. And then all I have to do is, move that swing arm. And I'd like to film, because I got into filming my tree stand hunts. But I was actually able to get some shots on camera, and missed a bunch, but I think it'd be cool to film somebody on a tree stand hunt. It'd be awesome.
Just somebody else other than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, depending on what I decide, if I draw Iowa, I mean, I couldn't remember. I just got to look at it and see when a draw is. I don't think it's happened yet.
Probably not.
Hopefully not.
I'm kind of surprised that Iowa even has a draw.
For out-of-staters.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but then again, Ohio doesn't have a draw. But Ohio, the deer are so fucking plentiful. I mean, now the license and the tag, like, I didn't know how good I had it in Ohio when it came to whitetail hunting. The tag's like $25 for an either sex tag, so you can take a buck or a doe. $25 tag over the counter, and then a license is, I don't know, like $60.
For an out-of-stater?
No, for in-stater.
That's not bad.
It's cheap, dude. $25 for a deer tag? You can get as many deer tags as you want. But you can only get a certain amount of deer because it goes by county and then state. So if I were to run over to Guernsey County and get my buck, okay, that's one. I can't get any more bucks because it's $1 per person statewide. And then I got, let's say it's a 3 deer county. I got a buck in Guernsey and then 2 does in Guernsey. That's 3. And your statewide limit is 5. I can roll over to Hocking County or something like that, get 2 more does. It's a 2 deer county. I've gotten 5. There you go. Fill the freezer. Now, that's super difficult to do. It's not like guaranteed or anything like that. But you know, five tags. It's $125.
That's doable.
$125 for 5 deer.
I think D12. Me and Tim and Ty are gonna put in for D12 over in California this year, and I think that's gonna run us probably $600-700 a piece.
Yeah.
But fuck it.
You only live once, dude.
Well, and that's kind of an easy hunt to do. Well, get to, because it's just right across the river.
Yeah.
For an out-of-state hunt, you can just literally hop on the other side of the river and start hunting.
Yeah.
I think deer are closer to town in California than they are to Yuma in California than they are in Arizona.
Say that again?
You can hunt deer really close to town in California.
Oh, yeah. Mule deer?
Mule deer.
Yeah.
Just right outside of Bard. And I'm going to try to do the deprivation hunt for the Coshan.
Interesting.
They got a doe hunt over there every year. I talked to the police chief from Coshan, and he just said, yeah, I'll let you know when we got it, and I'll just tell you when we get how many deer we want taken out, and I'll give you a call, and we'll get a permit.
He who drinks fire water.
They call me Edna Ishnala. That's my Navajo name.
Is it?
He who walks with the wind. But California would be fun. The res hunt, that'll be pretty much go out and shoot something real quick and be done, just fill the freezer.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Take that thing.
Kill something with that.
Yeah. We need to get Austin's fat ass into shape, though.
Yep. Needs to quit sitting on his ass and.
I would go over there every morning or every evening and like fucking cats on top of my truck. I'd go over there every. Gosh, you the wildlife at your house is just like a fucking zoo, dude.
Yeah.
Christ Almighty.
You should see the raccoons and skunks that come around.
Yeah. I'd go over there like every morning or every evening, um, if I thought I could get him to come out of his house and like take a walk or something like that. But because I mean that's how you like he's he's got a long way to go, and I've been there. I've been 300 pounds, man. And the way you start is not all right. I'm gonna go to a CrossFit class and like do what they're doing. No, the way you start is like be like I'm gonna go on a walk for 2 miles every day. And dude, you'd be surprised at how quickly you drop 25 pounds. Then you can start doing all the running and lifting weights and maybe rucking stuff like that. But yeah, he's gotta start on that shit because like when you think about it, he's running out of time. It's damn near May, man.
Yep.
Tax day's on Tuesday, dude. It's damn near May, and he's September 12th through 21st?
Yep. That, But then again, he'll pull that shit out of his ass and kill an elk like he always does whenever he draws an elk tag.
Yeah.
I can't do that shit. I can't get drawn to save my life.
Yeah. Well, and with fishing and hunting, I appear to be the bad luck charm for everybody, including myself.
Yeah. I could have killed that basket rack 3x, but that was a little bit of a poke with a 30-30.
Yeah.
130 yards offhand is a hard shot open sights. Not undoable.
I've seen you shoot. You could do that.
But the way he was quartering away, I didn't want to take the shot.
Yeah.
Not my, I should have just shot the bastard. You sit there and you think about it, you're like, fuck, I should have just shot. I know I could have hit it. But it's like one of those things where you go, well, do I really take the shot or not?
I would have. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Yellow. I'd do it just for the story.
Yeah, I killed a deer in Covas with a 30-30. There was, I think that might have been the same deer that we saw that Bobby Law shot.
Might have been. Although we saw a lot of deer on the last day that we were there.
Yeah. They were everywhere.
There's deer in there.
I think it just means next time we draw a tag, we need to we know where we need to focus.
Yeah. Austin says he wants to hunt the flats that we did 2 years 2 years ago. 3 years ago? 2 years ago.
Well, when we got on Titty Peak, what was it? Opening day or day after opening day?
Mm-hmm.
Those flats were so dry. It looked like a fucking fire had gone through there.
Yeah. Well, and not to mention that last year, 2 of those drinkers were down.
Yeah.
And one We probably weren't supposed to, but we fixed one because fuck it. If you're not going to come in there and fix the drinkers for the wildlife,
We'll
fuck
do it
you. We'll do it
ourselves.
ourselves. And then one of them we couldn't because the other one was windmill, but the one that was broken was solar.
I think they need to go back to windmills.
The windmill one was just clogged.
Yeah.
Like literally the hole that fills up the reservoir was clogged. So we just stuck a stick in there and it fell out. Voila. Filled up again real quick. Filled up the rest of the reservoir. The one with the solar on it, you have no idea what's wrong with that thing. Is it a computer chip? Is it a solar panel? Is it a power cord? Is it some sort of electrical issue? You have no idea.
If we had a multimeter with us, we could have probably figured it out. But
You
then
can
again,
figure it out, but then you need a part for it.
then we don't have any of the parts for it. Whereas if it's a windmill and it's pumping and pumping and pumping and something breaks, you get some baling wire and some duct tape, you can fix it.
Yeah.
But we're not the Fish and Wildlife Service. You know, I guess talking to Green, they've been putting a lot of those ranch, whatever the hell they are, monitors, the ranch water monitors on all the drinkers lately. Game Fish has.
Ranch water monitors?
Mm-hmm. They monitor the level and send it either through satellite or cell signal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It wouldn't work in the Cofas half the time because you have no cell signal anywhere.
Yeah.
But it's a good idea.
Yeah. But what I do like about that, what you're describing, is that you're hooking up a sensor to see what the water level is. But if it goes down, it doesn't affect the drinker's ability to fill up.
Yeah.
It's just you don't have that information anymore.
Yeah.
So you're not relying on that stuff to actually fill up the drinker.
No.
Whereas in the COFAs, that one drinker was completely and totally reliant on electrical components that probably don't like sand in a desert, and a solar panel, which is not very efficient, and you don't have any backup like power. That windmill is still out there, but it's completely disconnected. It'd be one thing if it had like a failsafe where if it's just like if it's not getting any power, it goes to windmill. And the windmill was turning.
And it was still...
It's turning. Its transmission drive is turning, and you still can't get water for it. And it's just like, what the fuck, guys?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
And that windmill's relatively new.
Yeah, they were saying it was like what?
It was
90s?
Early 90s. A bunch of the old guys from the Rod and Gun Clubs, their names were still in the concrete.
Yeah, I don't...
You know, that seems to me just bullshit that they went that way, but...
I don't know. I think there's a lot of great people working at Region 4. It's one of those things where like the Region 4 where we are, like you have to love what you do working at Region 4. It's not like what's Phoenix, Region 2?
2 or 3.
It's not like Region 3 where it's just like you could get a job there and, you know, there's a million people there. No, and if you're gonna work for Arizona Game and Fish in Region 4, you gotta want it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the people that I talk to, um, through the general outdoors network, like you guys and stuff like that, and then through my job, I have actually a surprising amount of contact with Region 4. Like, they're great. They're so good. And half the time when I can't get a hold of them, it's because they're in the fucking mountains somewhere. And then they get off the mountain at 9 o'clock at night and be like, "Hey, did you call me?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm calling you about this or this." And like they'll be, "Oh, sorry about that. I was like on a drinker project for like 2 days straight up in the mountains." I'm like, "Well, this isn't as important as that. I just needed to ask you a question about something." So I mean, like they are
Yeah.
great people that work out here, and like there's a couple of them that I know where it's just like, man, you are overqualified for your position.
Most of them are.
Yeah.
Most of these people are well overqualified for what they're doing. Pretty much a glorified babysitter half the time.
Yeah. But the two people that I talk to, you know, most often, like when you talk about like work, they're fucking doing work. They're not paper pushers at all. They're doing the work of like 10 people with just two of them. Um, I mean, I went on a fish survey with these two individuals, and we were out till 3 o'clock in the morning, and then they get up in the morning and go into work in the morning, answer some emails and shit like that, and then do it all over again. And I'm like, damn. I took work off the next day because I was like, if I'm gonna be out till 2 o'clock in the morning, but that fish survey was cool. It
Was
was
it?
worth it. It was worth it.
There's a lot more fish out here than people think.
Oh yeah. Um, and it's great data. We must have surveyed 400 fish that night.
Where are you guys at? Fishers or
Fishers.
Out of
Yeah.
the Colorado?
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't been up to the. I haven't fished that in probably 10 years.
Yep.
All my spots are probably all fucked up now.
Everything changes probably every 5 years around there.
Oh, easy. With the tulies and everything else and the sandbars, everything changes.
Yeah. I mean, hell, when I do kayak trips down the Colorado River from the confluence all the way down to Gateway Park, half the time I'm like, there's a new bend in this river that I've never seen before, and it's just wild. So something that used to be wide is now narrow. Something that used to be narrow is now wide, and you're just like, I remember that there's an island that just popped out of here. Okay, so
You never know.
and that's from year to year, man.
And this river changes all the time.
Which is weird for a river that is so controlled.
That's all the sediment that's in this river.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally runs through a sand dune. I mean, pretty much from Needles down. Well, from Havasu down,
Yeah.
it's all sand. So you never know what you're going to get. Need to get my ass back into fishing again.
I've been doing it a little bit lately. Caught a fish this morning. I'm no trophy hunter. It just makes me feel good. I bought a new rod at Shields the other day.
I could be the same asshole that goes out there and goes fly fishing for bluegill and be happy.
Mm-hmm. I found a couple of spots to go catfishing.
And that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
I've been catfishing in probably 4 years.
I know some spots where they're just on the surface, and you're like, holy shit.
Flatheads or channels?
I couldn't tell. I think they were flatheads.
Silver or brown?
brown.
Flatheads.
Yeah. Although I've seen some that are green.
Those are the older flatheads.
Yeah.
Flatheads tend to get a green color the older they get.
Yeah.
I think it's just algae that grows on them or something. I don't know. I'm not.
Well, it could be like bluegills. I mean, bluegills are like, like by and large, they kind of the same color. And then once they get older, they either get really dark or really light. And you can see, they get really pretty too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is what it is.
Yeah. Shit, it's probably been 10 plus years since I caught a decent flathead.
What would you use for flathead?
Bluegill.
No, I mean like what line?
180-pound Dacron.
Jesus.
Ocean reels. Heavy duty shit. Because when you hook up into a 40, 50 pounder and it gets into the reeds and
Yeah.
you want to just be able to winch them out. It's easier to go overkill than underkill.
Mm-hmm.
When they get, especially if you're fishing the river with that current, if they get in like an underbank or something else like that, you're going to lose them if you're running 20, 30 pound. You've got to have something to be able to just literally winch them out.
Yeah.
So I found it's just easier to use big ocean reels.
I don't have any of those.
I've got plenty.
Yeah. All my reels are like, trout, bass, stuff like that. But
I've got 2 4-aught Senators.
yeah.
Couple 3-aught level wines. Some high-speed tuna reels.
Of course.
Never know what you might catch. And the bad part is I used to go tuna fishing with a bass rod and kick the shit out of everybody. That was always fun. Show up there with a bass reel. Oh, you can't catch anything big on that. Pulling a 35-pound bluefin on it. That's a fun fight.
Yeah.
It's like one time I was in Cabo, I caught a 100-pound sailfish on a flipping stick.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fight and a half.
One of the things that I'd like to do is go fly fishing in some of those like tropical like resort towns and stuff like that. So that like when I finally like get married and have kids, like my wife and kids can like chill on the beach during the day. I'll go like down the road a little bit and find like a, where it's real shallow, like crystal clear water, and just go fly fishing all day and then get back at night and, do whatever they want to do. But like I've heard it's excellent in Australia, the Caribbean, like in Gulf of America now.
The Gulf of America.
I laughed so hard when it got updated on Google Maps. It's like, that's fucking crazy. But because Cabo is on the Gulf of America, correct?
Cabo?
Yeah.
Cabo's Gulf of California.
Okay, gotcha. So it's Cancun that's on the
Mhm.
Gulf of America. Yeah.
Cabo's the tip of Baja.
Mm-hmm.
Great fishing. Love Baja. Up and down. I've fished most of Baja, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Magdalena Bay. It's a mangrove forest in the bay. So some of the best fishing on the planet. Big tuna come into the bay. You can balloon fish for, 200-pound yellowfin. And that's so cool to watch when you're watching the balloon fishing. You literally fill up a balloon, and
So it's kind of like a giant bobber, basically.
no, you actually suspend the bait over the water, over top.
Oh,
The
really?
bait's out of the water. It's supposed to simulate like a flying fish. So it sits there, and these tuna will come up and go,
So it'll jump out of the water
Yeah.
for it.
that's the coolest thing ever to watch. Just see them just come out of the water. And it's like when you're tuna fishing, you look for what you call a boil, where they're coming in and out of the water and stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
causing a ruckus. Because, well, I guess their feeding mechanism is to get them as close to the surface as possible to pin them up
Okay.
with school. So when they're to get them out of having them out of the water and getting a fish isn't so bad, isn't like out of the norm. It's like when I was telling you the other night about running a surface iron. The whole idea is it's dancing on the top of the water, and that triggers that instinct to get up there. It's like running a topwater bait for bass,
Gotcha.
but a whole lot faster.
So they're kind of like bass that they like to
Come from above.
come from below
Yeah.
to sort of surprise. Gotcha.
There are a lot of similarities between tuna fishing and bass fishing. You just use a whole lot bigger rigs and a whole lot bigger lures.
So when you charter a boat down in Mexico, is the cost per person, or is it like
You buy a boat.
Okay,
You buy the boat for the day.
and then you can split it between like a certain amount of people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when me, my mom, and my brother used to go down, it'd be three of us, and they'd say like, all right, you can charter the boat maximum of 4 people or whatever,
Okay.
4 or 5 people, and you pay $500-$600 a day for the boat.
Split between 5 people.
Yeah.
So if you do it for 3 days, it's like $300. That's not bad.
No. What costs you the most is just getting down there, and that's what it was back when I used to go down.
So it's double.
It's probably double now.
Yeah.
It's probably $1,000 a day now.
Between 5 people.
Yeah. I mean, which isn't horrible. I mean, if you want to go down for 2-3 days, and you can fill a freezer in 2 or 3 days if you want to,
Yeah.
on tuna and Dorado. And if the wahoo bites on, that's even more fun.
Yeah.
And they all got rods and everything else. Most of the time, you don't have to take shit down because they're used to taking tourists out.
Yep. And I'm gonna guess that if you go through Calexico and stuff like that, and go on those major highways, nobody's gonna fuck with you in Mexico because it's touristy, and like everybody knows, like, don't fuck with the people going down there to actually spend their money and shit
Don't
like that.
fuck with the touristas.
Yeah.
And most of the time we'd fly. If you're going down to Cabo, fly down. Way easier. It's a 2-day drive down there half the time because the roads aren't the best.
Mexico's fucking huge, dude. Massive.
It's just, and you can get a flight out of Mexicali to Cabo, and it's cheap because you're not doing the international fees.
Yeah. You have to have your passport.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
You have to have your passport, but that's not a big deal. And you have to apply for, and you have to get a visa and stuff like that because you're down so far. The exclusionary zone and stuff like that.
Mm.
But the visa's not a big deal. You literally fill it out, and what are you down here to do?
Fish. Spend money. Drink.
Party on.
Yeah. That'd be cool. I'd like to do one of those and like film it. Just film people.
It's fun. Last time I was down there, the guy that was running the charters threw us with a guy that spoke no English. Horrible idea for three people from Yuma. We spoke enough Spanish to talk to him like it was nothing. He spoke some English. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But we spoke way more Spanish than he did English. So we're bullshitting with him, telling him what he wants. And he goes, "You guys are the coolest gringos I've ever met." So, back when we used to fish in Mexico, we used to go down to, we had a place in El Golfo, El Torneo, which is
No idea.
Santa Clara.
You might as well be speaking Spanish to me.
It's the first town after the Colorado Delta on the Sonora side.
Okay.
We had a house down there growing up. We used to go fish for grouper and triggerfish and all kinds of shit down there. We got to be good enough buddies with the guys that were down there that they'd let us borrow a panga, which is one of their big long boats that they drag up on a beach with just a tiller motor. And go, "You guys go have fun, go fish." And we knew that water well enough. You didn't have to have a depth finder or anything else like that. All right, you're running this many minutes out, this many minutes over here, and look at where the land is. You go, "All right, there should be a reef right here." Drop and you can catch fish.
Yeah.
When you don't have any landmarks, it's kind of hard. But we caught some good fish out of there.
Yeah.
My mom caught this was years and years ago, I think a 48-pound halibut in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
When you think about it, you're like, oh, 40 pounds. Like, I have a sandbag at my house that's 136 pounds, but that's not dead weight. That's fighting. That's actively fighting you.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about that peacock out there that's like, what, 10 pounds?
Maybe.
And how badly that thing fights and how hard that's to control. A 48-pound fish that's so fucking strong in the water.
I caught a 300-pound blue marlin doing that.
Tear both your biceps.
I was fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
Did it stand up? No fighting chair. And no fighting belt.
Just your balls in your taint, dude.
I was bruised like a motherfucker, dude. That's probably why I can't have kids now. But, dude,
What does marlin taste like?
it tastes... It's a lot like halibut. It's a white fish.
Okay.
But it's, instead of being flaky, it's more firm. A lot like halibut, dorado, all those type of fishes. I never kept a marlin.
What'd you do with it?
Release it.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Billfish, the only reason I know what it tastes like is when we were at the lodge. There was one guy that had to keep it for the photo.
Uh-huh.
And they made marlin ceviche and fried marlin out of it. Because you pretty much got to eat it. It doesn't freeze well. That's why it was never a commercially viable.
Like you have to get it done right now.
Mm-hmm. And it was a big fish. I mean, it was a 500-pounder. That's a big fucking fish.
Yeah, dude. So, okay. You've caught a marlin. It's got a Scottish claymore coming out the front of it. Run me through your catch and release process.
By the time you get a big marlin to the side of the boat, it's so fucking tired it's not even funny. And what you do is you always run circle hooks. That way it catches in the corner of the mouth.
Uh-huh.
Get it in, and it's normally so tired you can grab the bill.
The sword.
It's not sharp, just pointy.
Yeah, but it's still fucking dangerous. I mean, that thing moves.
Oh,
and,
you
hits
can-
somebody. Like, dude, you're dead.
Oh, you can easily. It's not safe. But you can get somebody on the front end of that bill, have them grab it with gloves, obviously,
Yeah.
and you just got to get like a gaff or something else like that, and you just go pop and pop the hook out. You're done.
And then everybody goes 3, 2, 1, and then you like push it away.
Yeah. Most of the time, you don't unhook it until you're ready to let it go.
Yeah.
Just because. But, or if you're running a circle hook and you're using a steel hook, you literally just cut the line and just let it go. Because that thing will rust out a month or two.
Oh, it'll like break apart and then
Yeah.
it'll be fine.
That'll rust away.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea behind using a circle hook. That way it catches the corner of the mouth rather than...
Pierces through and then has to rust through and then
I
obviously
mean, it pierces and everything else.
Yeah.
But it doesn't get into the gut, doesn't get into the
Yeah.
tongue, doesn't get in the esophagus, doesn't get anywhere else. It just literally goes to the corner of the mouth, and that is all you get.
Yep.
J hooks work okay, but and marlin, it's very rare that you get them to where they swallow a jig or anything else like that. So, and if you're running tossback baits, you always run a circle hook because live bait just seems to swim better on a circle hook, in my opinion. Now we just turned into a fishing podcast.
Fuck it, man. I'm about to start a 6th channel, man. Fuck, dude. 614 angling. I'll attach a GoPro to my chest pack and just like talk about life while I fish.
Fish, drink a beer.
Yeah.
Sounds horrible.
I mean, people do those podcasts and they or people do those videos and they do really well. So, I don't know. I like the thing. I like fly fishing. I really do. We need to eventually go up to Greer or something like that, and or Sunrise and go fishing
We've
for
got
trout
to.
and stuff like that. But down here, like, I hate casting rods. I can do a casting rod, but that one time where it turns into a bird's nest, it's over. I fucking cut the line and have to redo everything and shit like that. I love spinning rods, so
This is where I learned how to fly fish, so I know how to sit there and look around and
yeah.
make sure I'm not fucking anything up. And I'm probably the worst fly fisherman on the planet, but caught a handful of decent fish on it.
Yeah. I want that first like trout on a fly line. It's gonna be so cool because I just recently got into fly fishing in the last like 2 years, so just been catching smaller fish on it, but like, you know, when you get that trout on a fly line, that's what it's meant for, dude.
I'll be honest with you. You catch a bluegill on a fly line versus a trout. Bluegill fight way better.
I mean, I've actually caught a bunch of bluegill on a fly line at the pack. The problem with them is that they don't weigh anything, so you go to set the hook and it goes pew, and you get a bluegill that flies towards you, and you're just like, oh shit!
You're like,
so you're not even catching it. You're just like rocketing it towards like the Ramada behind you, and you're just like, all right, well, whatever. That's got to be a ride for that fucking bluegill. When you get it off the hook and you throw it back in there, he goes back to his friends and goes, you won't fucking believe what just happened to me, dude.
biggest fish I ever caught on a fly rod, though, was a 26-pound carp.
Yeah, that's what you said you used to do. You used to go fly fishing for carp.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
Grass carp.
Yeah.
Illegal to keep in our system, but they're fun as hell to catch.
Illegal to keep. I thought that was brown trout.
No. Brown trout, like all the grass carp that are...
Or brown carp. Sorry.
Brown carp you can keep, do whatever you want with them. Grass carp they're all stocked.
Okay.
They're meant to keep, like down here in the canals and stuff by the house, they're in there to keep the weeds and stuff down.
Yeah.
So technically you're not even supposed to fish for them, but as long as you're not keeping them.
But that's the problem for fishing is like if you catch a grass carp, you could have been fishing for something else, and you catch a grass carp, and you're just like, oh well, whatever, throw it back. Like,
I was specifically fishing for grass carp, though.
Yes.
It wasn't like it was a big deal. They knew I was going to throw them back because,
yeah.
fuck am I going to do with a fucking carp?
Yeah. Has Timmy sold that boat yet?
I don't know.
We need one last hurrah on that boat before he sells it. The ones with like the lights and shit like that.
Yeah.
And we all need to like I need to go to Sprague's. Or no, you know what? I have a Genesis bow that we need to set up for bow fishing.
Well, I've got two old bastards right there. You can just buy a reel in it.
Yeah. And just fucking go ham, dude. All night.
I haven't been bow fishing in so long.
We need to get Timmy to commission a trip out there, man. That'd be freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I just bought him a whole bunch of 7 PRC brass from Shields. Praise be.
Gonna load him up some rounds?
No, he's got his own.
He's got his own press.
Yeah. But we need to do that.
Bowfish.
Pick a night.
Sounds horrible. I'm in.
Sounds gay. I'm in.
Sounds gay. I'm in. I gotta pee.
PP time?
It's PP.
Let's do PP time.
Let's do PP time.
Cut.
Oh, fuck.
What?
Look at this.
Oh, yeah. We're off camera, and you just said, "Oh fuck! Look at this." I'm keeping that in, dude.
Oh, fuck. Look at this.
Oh fuck! Look at this.
I'm good.
Oh, action! Woo! Live action.
Woo, yay.
We need to get this back to Bose somehow.
Yeah, I know. We are the cool arrows.
We are the cool arrows.
So how's the Exalt treating you?
It's great, man. I don't know that it's fully tuned, but then again, I haven't thrown broadheads on it in a long time. I'm thinking here. I didn't get to do over the counter. I bought an over the counter tag, but we never went. We were going up to Brent's brother's place, but then everything fell apart. You know.
Well, you still got it for this year, don't you? Or did you not buy one for 25 yet?
I did not buy one for 25. So.
We always got August.
Yeah. But if I get a Kofa tag, I'm going to go for that. And then, you know, I think it's probably time for some new strings over the summer. Just restring it, you know. It doesn't look bad. It's just one of those things with as much as we shoot. Like Mark with that bow, he probably won't have to replace his strings for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
But for as much as we shoot our bows, like me with the Exalt, like I haven't shot Pinky in a long freaking time. But I've been shooting the Exalt, so it's just one of those things where it's like just pay the $140 from gas, that because I always go with gas. I've had their customer service is second to none, and you know they've replaced strings for me before, and so I just always go with them. Plus Sprague's is a dealer of gas.
Yeah. That's all I run anymore is gas.
Yeah, they're besides like a factory string on stuff, but once you get to a point like you're not going to swap out the strings on a brand new bow.
No.
Just because like what's the point of that? You've got strings on there, but when you do replace them, I always replace them with gas. But you know, with as much as we shoot, like I think I just need to, you know, here before Bow Disciples, order some gas bowstrings and swap them out.
Well, on my Echelon, I did replace the strings right away because I hated the gray.
Yeah.
It didn't look good. And I went with Winner's Choice, and I literally changed the strings on that thing because I originally went with Winner's Choice because that's pretty much factory for elites.
Uh-huh.
Those things didn't hold up worth a fuck. I think
What happened to them?
Just stretched like a motherfucker.
Really? I don't get very much stretch from gas at all.
No, I haven't had any stretch out of. Think that red set that is on my option 6 now, and you know how much I shoot that bow. They still look brand new, pretty
They
close.
do, yeah.
And I think those are 1.5 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably got 1,000 shots through them.
Yep.
And I have had 0 stretch on it. So, as long as you take care of your strings, you're not going to have an issue. You're dribbling.
Yeah. God damn it. It's all right. It's on my American flag t-shirt.
America!
Fuck yeah. So lick my butt and suck on my balls, America.
We'll see how this on the Exalt. These are America's best bowstrings.
You mean the X-Lite?
X-Lite, yeah. We'll see how they hold up. They're very comparable to gas, what I've heard,
Yeah.
but who knows?
Well, the problem is that when these, and this is happening in the archery community, you know, 20 years ago, all these companies used to be separate. Now they're all getting bought up by giant conglomerations, and then almost overnight everything changes. So that's why I think it's smart what Matthews did is they have their own in-house string manufacturer now. and they used to be dog shit. And now they've actually done a whole bunch of work to make sure that like actually they're really good now. Like the factory strings out of all of those, because at some point, like, you know, Matthews is now probably sell more bows than anybody else.
Oh, easily.
I know MFJJ buys sight unseen a year in advance over $250,000 worth of Matthews bows. He's just like, yeah, just give me $250,000 every year. He just says it to Matthews, whatever your next bow is, give me $250,000 worth of it. I'll put it in there. And they're great fucking bows, dude. So them taking their string in-house and making it so that that's not the weak link anymore, it's fucking right, dude.
Zebra strings were the biggest pieces of shit on the planet. You know, for years that would... Man, I go back to the days where I still got an ammo can full of old PFC Dacron strings. There wasn't twists in them or anything else like that. I mean, they were just there. And that's what I grew up shooting, was the shitty strings and stuff like that. Zebras were good when they first came out, because that was really kind of the first custom-ish string.
Mm-hmm.
Then Winner's Choice came out. And Winner's Choice was hands down the best bowstring ever when it first came out. I had one on my Baby G that lasted probably 5 or 6 years. But the last few sets of Winner's Choice I've had sucked.
They probably got bought up by...
Well, they did.
Yeah.
They got bought up by Faradyne,
Yeah.
which is elite. True Fire.
Well, they're all under, what, the Outdoor Group now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I like, it's one of those things where, like, the actual bows, they're fucking fantastic, man. But some of the other shit that they make is not good.
Yeah. They're CBE sights now and everything else. CBE went through a phase where they were good, went to shit. Now I think they're back to being decent. Their target sights have always been second to none, but their hunting sights were left a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm going to the XL, just because it's an XL.
Mm-hmm.
That is, in my opinion, the top tier of archery sights, bow sights. B3 is up there with them now.
I haven't had any experience with their new
The new lineup.
The only thing I know is I have a B3 sight on Pinky, and there's a couple of issues with it that I don't like.
What are those?
So, on a lot of sites, you have to, like, unlock it to adjust it, and that's a screw. So you shoot about 15 shots, that thing starts to come loose, and then your sight rattles. So you have to, and it's not something that you want to Loctite down, because if you want to adjust it, you have to unlock it. Like the UltraView, there ain't no way that fucking thing's coming unlocked.
No.
It's a flip up, and when you push it down, you lock it down. There's no way that thing's fucking coming loose. But you lift up to adjust it, and then you lock it back down. With B3, it's like a twist knob. So you keep shooting that thing, and then all of a sudden you hear a weird noise when you shoot, and then you realize your sight's like rattling a quarter inch in either direction. But you know, like B3 is one of those companies that, like, some of this stuff they make is fucking bulletproof. Like their hinge releases, dude, they're some of the best in the game, man. Like, their hinge releases are awesome. Their buttons are good. They're not as crisp and as well made as like some of the Carters or anything like that. But like Carter's been doing that for fucking ever. But their hinge releases are so freaking good. Their index finger releases, second to none. What else? What else from B3? I like a lot of their shit. It's just there's weaknesses in every company that
Yeah.
that make anything. But I like that. I do like that sight. It's just that the twist knob always comes loose, and they need a better way of locking down the sight to where, it's not. And if you're at 18 meters and stuff like that, and you're shooting shot after shot after shot, it's one thing if we're going out to 3D
And you're moving.
and we're redoing it, we're adjusting it every single target. But if you're at 18 meters and you expect that thing to be rock solid for an hour of shooting, 30 to 60 arrows, you're going to be tightening that thing up about 6 or 7 times during that.
My CBE, I don't run an issue with that because what their design is it's a flip lever, but what it does is it engages and disengages the wheel.
Yep.
It can get stripped out, but that's an easy adjustment on there. There's a little couple screws in the back, you just in and out, and that takes care of it, which I kind of like. Because I've never, like on my option, other than screws coming loose or something else like that, which is going to happen given the amount of shit we shoot and
Yeah.
the way we treat our bows and stuff like that, it's going to happen. That's just our fault for my fault for not going through every few hundred shots and tightening everything just to make sure.
Yeah.
But I like that adjustment. I've been happy with the old CBE sights. The problem is they're just heavy.
Yep.
So the Spot Hog, so's an Ultra View.
The Ultra View's fucking heavy, dude. I think it might be heavier than my Spot Hog.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
The new Trek, like I got on my Echelon, it's pretty light because it's a carbon rod. I think all said and done, I think it's only an ounce or two heavier than the driver.
I'll be interested to see how heavy that driver is once you put it on that thing. And
Once I get out that bow, I'm curious to see how heavy it actually is once
Yeah.
it's all said and done.
And really, my Exalt feels heavier than it actually weighs.
Oh, it feels like a fucking brick.
Did you notice, because you've held Pinky, it's got that fucking 30-inch stabilizer on it. Like Pinky, I can hold that thing all fucking day. And then the Exalt, you pick up and you're like, ooh, this is heavy. And then I've lightened it up quite a bit with my custom stabilizers that I made. They're hollow and stuff like that, and so it's way better to shoot now. It's awesome. But we weighed them, and Pinky was heavier, and I was like, this doesn't make any fucking sense, dude. It could be that with that long back stabilizer, it sort of feels a little bit lighter and more controllable and stuff like that. But with that Ultra View on there and the Hamskea on it as well, and all of that, it just seemed a little like really heavy.
Yeah.
And in all reality, I could probably shoot that thing without the stabilizers on, but I like to have the stabilizers on there. But the thing about the Ultra View, I really like that sight. I really do. The only two, and I've told you this before, the only two problems that I've seen with it, the bubble's fucking too long. And when we're shooting on flat land, it's not a problem because you're shooting on flat land. But if you're in the mountains and you're on a mountain slope and you're trying, and you draw back and try to find your bubble, dude, there's like, if the middle is your sight, you've got this much on either side where that bubble could be hiding in the sight housing. And it's just like, do I really want to have to try to find that bubble while I'm trying to lock onto an animal? And then it's fucking heavy. But it's rock solid. I have had zero issues with it. None. And the cool part about it is that I've got it's technically 4-pin. One other thing that I don't like about it, the 4th pin, virtually useless. It sits directly on top of the bubble. And it's just like, your sight picture, if you're using that 4th pin, is nothing.
It's dog shit.
It's dog shit. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, whatever. It's still 3-pin, which I'm totally fine, but I'm not using that 4th pin as my mover. So it might as well be a 3-pin, but I'm completely fine with that. I thought it was a 3-pin anyways. So
well, you bought it thinking it was a 3-pin to begin with.
Exactly. So the 4th pin doesn't really matter. So what I've been doing is I've noticed that the 20, 30, and 40 are exactly the same distance apart, or negligibly different. That if I have like a 26-yard shot, I'll just dial the 40 to 46 and then shoot that 20 pin.
Yeah.
And it's 26. I did that today and I was like 12. Whatever.
Run it as a single pin.
Yeah, exactly. So
see, the difference, the way I run my pins is I sight in my 20, 30, 40, and then I run my sight tape straight off of my 20 pin. I don't sit there and worry about where everything else falls in line.
Well, I can always pin gap.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where, because I know that, like, in my sight housing, 20, 30, and 40 are literally the exact same distance apart, I can dial for 46 on my 3rd pin and know that my 20 pin is at 26.
Yeah. I run my top pin as my slider. And the only reason I do that is that way I get, when we're fucking around and doing stupid shit, I got a little bit more distance on my bottom end, past 100, whatever my sight tape is.
Yeah.
100 or whatever. I can kind of go, okay, if I've got a pin, my 20 pin sitting here.
Ooh, perfect timing.
If my 20 pin's at 100, I know my 30 pin at 100 is 107 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then my bottom pin is 100, because after 100 yards, that bow kind of starts falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
I think my bottom pin is 115.
Well, technically, I can get way more distance out of Pinky. But I can get 110 out of the Exalt. The Exalt is my hunting bow.
Yeah.
I don't need 110 yards in a hunting bow. I can get 125 out of Pinky. And that could be indoor / 3D and stuff like that, where you're actually going to be like, on a mountain in Utah taking a 125-yard shot. Fuck it, on a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
But like, for me, getting 125 out of my sight on the Exalt is more than I will ever need. And actually, most people can't even get 110 yards out of
No.
their out of their bow and sight setup. So I'm completely happy with my Exalt setup, because I remember when we were setting up Austin's new bow, and he was at like 65 pounds, and he was shooting a lighter arrow than me. Not by much. It was like maybe like 15 grains. But he was like, "Oh yeah, I can only get like 85 yards out of it." And I was like, "How the fuck is that possible?" I was like, "I'm only shooting 70, and I'm shooting more and it's because his like peep sight is at a different level than me." But I was still like, "You've got a slider on that. How the hell are you only getting like 85 yards out of that?"
And he was running his sight all the way out.
Yeah. Well, but if you run your sight all the way, if you run your sight in a little bit more, you get more distance, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The closer your sight is in, the smaller your pin gap.
Yeah.
But the farther out you are, the more precise you are on your tape and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, all right, what do you want to be? If for a hunting bow,
He doesn't need to be running his sight out that much, in my opinion.
and I think he needs to change sights anyway. I think he needs to run a pin, a multi-pin sight for elk rather than a single pin. But that's just my opinion.
We need to kidnap him, man. Do a podcast. Or do one at his house. Make it easy on him. This shit's mobile.
That's it.
I drove to fucking your house with all this stuff.
Doesn't take anything to set up. I mean, it's not hard to do.
No.
Needed to get his ass back over here and completely refuck up his whole setup that we asked to shoot more.
I haven't even seen his the stabilizers I built him on his new bow.
No. Well, he hasn't even shot since then.
Man.
Life gets in the
Asshole.
way.
Asshole.
Asshole. But I think he needs to run a 3-pin slider for elk. My
Yeah.
personal opinion.
Yeah. Because he can get out to 40 yards and then dial from there. But he'll have the boys with him
Yeah.
when he's elk hunting. At the very least, he'll have Gage with him. And Gage will have his rangefinder. And, you know, something starts coming in, Gage gets on the rangefinder. And, like, that's one thing that, like, I think about actually in the field is, what is my job? What is my job? I'm like, believe it or not, like when somebody else is hunting for an animal and I'm like with them, I think, what could I do to lessen the amount that they have to do? And I lock in. So like, if we start seeing an animal, immediately get my rangefinder out and start range finding. So that's one less thing that they have to do. So they're up there. They've got their arrow knocked in there. It's just like, hey, he's at 70 right now. 70. You know, they move it. He's at 65. He's at 60. Blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
I like to find a job to do to make it easier on them. And I don't focus on, like, because there's some people that I've talked to where it's just like they get in the moment with the person that's hunting and they just kind of like observe and they're like, man, I didn't even think about doing anything like that. And I'm like, no, I want a job to do when that animal comes in to where this person that I'm with doesn't have to do anything but focus on their shot process.
That's one thing I want to, this summer when we're shooting, I want to fuck with everybody a little bit. I want to we're going to do an unknown Sunday.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
Because everybody's so reliant on their rangefinders anymore.
Yeah.
And in the heat of the moment bow hunting, there are times you don't get to choose.
Yeah. So when I was in Ohio, Midwestern whitetail woods, I like, you get bored. You're up there, there's nothing going on. I'd range find everything. So that like when a deer walked into a certain window, I'd know what the range was broadly.
I do the same thing when I'm glassing. Say we're and we're not like up on TD Peak where we're glassing miles.
Yeah.
Say we're in a canyon and we're glassing. I'll sit there and I'll go, K. All right. 100 yards, 200 yards, 300 yards, this, that. And I kind of get an idea in my head where everything's at.
Yeah.
Because you can be up there for all day and go, fuck, how far is all that shit?
Yep.
And a lot of people, when they go out bow hunting, they look at something, they're like, oh, I'm used to shooting 30 yards. This is 30 yards. Well, it's actually 55.
Well, and it all completely changes when you see an animal, because like when I was out with Brian Green, and we walked up on a buck, I was like, man, that's like 50 yards away. And again, looking for that job, he had his bow. I immediately pulled out my rangefinder and ranged it, and I was like, holy shit, Brian, 99 yards. It did not look like 99 yards. Like that antelope, it looked like that. It looked closer than that antelope that we normally have at. And I was like, holy fuck, that's 100 yards away. It did not look like 100 yards away.
Well, you think about, you look at the animal, the body size of an actual deer versus what we shoot. The body size of the elk is more comparable to what a mule deer is out here. The dimensions of the body, you know. You really think about it. You're not going to have a deer that's its body's only this skinny. Think about it. That deer is going to look like it's this big. It's going to be this big. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the size of the elk. And that's, let's say 135, 140 pound deer. It's not going to be this skinny.
Yeah.
It's going to be this. So you're looking at it and you're going to see that distance and it's going to look so much bigger.
I don't know. We shoot at that 100-yard target a whole bunch. And it was just like, I ranged that deer and I was like, that deer looks half the distance of what it is. And I think it was like one of those things where you're in the moment and it's live and it's just like, holy fuck. But if I would have if I wouldn't have had a rangefinder and I would have dialed my bow, I would have dialed to like 60.
Gotta shoot unknown. Do a little unknown shooting just to fuck with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we need to do that sometime.
Are we going to conclude this bitch?
I think we should, because I gotta pee.
All right.